How is disability portrayed in media? Is there a difference in portrayal when approaching the disabled character in a fictional story versus a story inspired by true events and people? In this video, we will explore some of the main themes that movies tend to follow and explore when pertaining to disability. Some movies decide to take a more medical model approach, where disability is seen as something that can't be lived with, needs to be eradicated, or needs to be cured.
Had let him down, and there was nothing anyone could do about it.
The medical model approach can be defined as a socio-political model where disability is a result of a physical condition that breeds pity. In Charlie, based off the books Flowers for Algernon, Charlie is a mentally disabled man.
Are you using the mouse test?
We're simply using a laboratory animal, Mrs. Kinnean, to spur the subject on to his best effort.
He is given different medications and tests to improve his mental capacity. This follows the belief that society perceives disabled persons to be damaged and defective.
All right. I'm going to disconnect your air machine, and you're going to go to sleep.
In $1 Million Baby, we see a woman work towards her dream of boxing to have it shattered when she becomes a quadriplegic. She then decides that she is better off dead than alive with a disability, enforcing the stigma and fear that people have that disabled people are inferior to able-bodied people. This movie shined a light on the existing controversy that disability activists already face. Not Dead Yet and some other organizations fight for better care and resources to be made available to disabled persons, to give them more and better alternatives than death. Some alternatives could include better healthcare, access to a psychiatrist that will give appropriate help and diagnosis, and more independent living options, whereas others believe that the ability to choose death is a freedom that should be protected. Which can then lead to some movies allowing for a change of heart.
What is this? Who is this guy?
Raymond is your brother.
My brother? I don't have a brother.
Once a person with a disability is introduced. In Rain Man, Charlie Babbitt is an arrogant and selfish man who finds out that he has had an autistic savant brother that he did not know about, who is inheriting all of his father's estate and savings. Therefore, Charlie kidnaps his brother from the facility that he is staying at and ends up taking a week-long journey with him. Charlie then realizes that he does not need money as long as he can get to know his brother.
I like having you for my brother. I'm an excellent fighter.
In My Left Foot, the main character is a spastic quadriplegic who can't speak or walk and only receives support from his mother. Christy Brown, quadriplegic, is constantly told by the neighborhood and his father that he's a waste of space, time, and effort, until one day at the age of 10, he writes "mother" on a chalkboard with his left foot. This single action was the catalyst for the entire neighborhood and his father, who will then become an accomplished novelist and painter. The film was framed in a manner that disabled people are not worth the effort and time that an able-bodied person receives until they prove themselves worthy of life.
How can we be so
different?
Your teacher gave you a really hard book this time.
What's wrong with your father? Why is he acting like a retard?
In I Am Sam, a mentally disabled person with the mental capacity of a 7-year-old gives birth to an able-bodied daughter. When she starts to become smarter than him, she is ripped away from him by Child Protective Services. He has to undergo a trial process to prove his ability to take care of his daughter. He is deemed as an unfit parent and has to fight for shared custody rights with his daughter's new adoptive parents. This movie highlights some of the struggles that disabled people have to face with the law. Firstly, Sam was arrested for simply speaking to a hooker, showing how mentally disabled people can be targeted for crimes that they did not commit. While under arrest because of his mental capacity, Child Protective Services almost immediately decided that he could not be a supportive father, showing that the law holds prejudices against disabled people.
Much more than your daddy can give you.
All you need is love.
What makes you think you can raise a 7-year-old?
Every parent has those moments.
A 10-year-old?
Moments where the task is so unbelievably challenging
A 13-year-old?
that you feel retarded.
She'll be 6 years more advanced than you.
I wouldn't want any daddy but you. Did you hear that? Why don't you write that down?
Through the court process, Sam becomes flustered by the court proceedings that he is practically coerced into giving up his parental rights, showing that the law easily manipulates those with disabilities.
Are you on?
I used to be on lithium and Seroquel.
I was on Xanax.
You ever take Klonopin?
Klonopin, yeah.
Like, is it what?
I'm tired, I want to go. Are you going to walk me home or what?
You have poor social skills. You have a problem.
I have a problem?
Mm-hmm.
You say more inappropriate things than appropriate things.
In Silver Linings Playbook, Pat, who has bipolar disorder, meets Tiffany, who has a disorder that is never mentioned. They take on the challenge of participating in a dance competition to combat their disabilities together. In this movie, there are some interactions between the disabled and the law as well. The cops know that Pat has a disorder, and therefore when Tiffany screams that he is assaulting her when he wasn't, the cops automatically assume the worst. It isn't until Tiffany admits that he never did anything that the cops reluctantly unhand him. Also, Pat started the movie off in an institution where his mother removes him against the recommendation of the institution. He becomes markedly improved after meeting Tiffany, showing that the institutions are not always the most proper form of rehabilitation and care for those with disabilities.
I'm my best self today, and I think she's her best self, and that's a good thing.
A supercoupe can be defined as a disabled person who can accomplish mundane, taken-for-granted tasks as if they were great accomplishments, therefore triggering two insights that disability must be overcome by resolute dedication to mean something, and those who cannot perform these tasks lack willpower and discipline. Many fictional movies do have a supercoupe as a lead, but it is practically a guideline for a movie inspired by true events to be centered around one who can be considered as a supercoupe. Ray is a movie about the groundbreaking blind singer Ray Charles and his journey in becoming a famous singer and piano player. Soul Surfer follows the story of Bethany Hamilton, a champion surfer whose arm is lost in a shark attack, and how she is able to return and compete again with her disability. The Theory of Everything suffers the struggles of Stephen Hawking as he falls more and more victim to his Lou Gehrig's disease, while also following rise to fame in the physicist's world with this series about the universe and how it works.
Great joy to watch this man defy every expectation, both scientific and personal.
All three of these supercoups started off life without a disability and had to learn to overcome it in order to become great. Ray started becoming blind very early in his life, so by the time he is earning recognition for his music, he has already overcome his blindness, and the fact that he is a blind person only adds to the amazement of his audiences. Bethany Hamilton actively lost her arm in the movie Soul Surfer, and the movie stressed the fact that she had to overcome and learn new ways to complete even the most mundane tasks. In The Theory of Everything, Stephen Hawking learns of his disease while in college, but knowing that his body is shutting down on him does not stop him from being one of the most profound and famous astrophysicists of the world.
My name is Stephen Hawking.
It's American.
Is that a problem?
These movies not only focus on their abilities to overcome their disability, but also have one other main theme or story that can distract, per se, from the fact that the main character has a disability. It follows Ray Charles as he slips into the musician's lifestyle of sex and drugs. In particular, as the movie progresses, it becomes more and more about Ray's abuse of heroin and how the events of his life lead him to want to be rehabilitated. Drug addiction, though, can also be considered another form of disability that Ray had to overcome. In Soul Surfer, the surfing aspect is heightened, causing the movie to have multiple action shots pertaining to surfing. Also, Bethany's faith plays a big role in the movie. The romance of Stephen and Jane Hawking takes center stage in The Theory of Everything. There are many more themes that can be analyzed and explored when it comes to movies with disabled characters. Some movies such as Forrest Gump and 50 First Dates take a more comedic approach when portraying the character's disabilities, whereas movies like Fight Club and Memento, the disability is the source of intense and suspenseful drama. Other movies use a fictional otherness as a metaphor for disability, like how society views the mutants in the X-Men movies. As disability becomes more prominent in movies, more and more themes will arise and hopefully end this negative stigma surrounding disability.